Me here, and we're going to talk about Toastmasters and what Toastmasters is.
Yeah.
So most of you know this information, but for those of you who don't, I would like to tell you a little bit more about the Toastmasters program. Okay? So here's what we're going to talk about today. We're going to talk what is Toastmasters and the educational program, the communication track and the leadership track, because these are two different things, but they're an integral part of the Toastmasters experience. So this is what we're here to do. So, first of all, what is Toastmasters? Well, Toastmasters was started in 1924 by a man named Ralph Smedley. Those of us who've been in Toastmasters for over about 6 months, we all know the story. In 1924, in the basement of a YMCA in California, Ralph Smedley realized that there was a need for people to be trained in public speaking and presiding over meetings. It's a skill. And it's something that people aren't really born with. It's something that you need to get better at, and you get better at by continually working on it and improving it, which is what we're doing here. So he founded this club. And this club that began in 1924, that's 90 years ago, 88 years ago, 89, sorry, I'm really bad at math. 89 years ago, has now spread to 116 countries. You are part of an organization, an international organization, that has 13,000 clubs and over 280,000 members worldwide. Now in Korea, we have about 40 clubs, which means we have about 1,000 members in Korea, which is a lot of people considering the fact Toastmasters hasn't been in Korea for very long. And you are part of that, so congratulations. So what's the mission? What are we here to do? If you look at the bottom of your agenda, you'll see the mission of a Toastmasters club is to provide a mutually supportive and positive learning environment. We all know this part. This is what we emphasize, a mutually supportive learning environment, where you're given chances to speak in front of people, to get better, to have leadership opportunities. This is the core of our club, and this is what we're here to do, is to get better. Okay? Because if you're not here to improve, if you're not here to take roles, if you're not here to learn something or to hone your skills, then you're wasting 2 hours in a semi-warm room listening to people talk. And you do that in class all the time. So we're here to get better, we're here to improve. So how do we do that? Well, in Toastmasters, there's 2 tracks in Toastmasters that every person in here should be working on once you become a member. The first one, the most commonly known one, is the communication track, right up here. Now, when you start as a new member, you get 2 manuals in your membership packet. Usually, people bring those books with them. Did anyone bring their books with them? Anyone? Yes! Way to go, Solji! Okay, excellent job. Solji, gold star for you. I think that's Tuanonzo because you're writing in it, but whatever. So, when you become a new member in Toastmasters, you've paid the money. You attend meetings. Then what? Well, in the mail, you get a nice letter from headquarters that says, congratulations on joining Toastmasters. And you get 2 books. The one that most people focus on is called Competent Communication. And this is the book of speeches. 10 speeches, 10 basic speeches, which I'll talk about in a minute. And that's the book Tuanon was doing tonight. He was working on his 9th project out of 10. You also get a book called Competent Leadership, which also has 10 projects in it. And if you follow those projects, you move on to advanced communicator roles and advanced leadership until finally you can become a distinguished Toastmaster, which we'll talk about at the end. Oh my gosh, isn't this exciting, distinguished Toastmaster? Okay,
I want to do that.
Michael is well on his way if he gets his leadership submitted. So, competent communication. We're going to talk about the communication track first. So what does that mean? Well, like I said, it's a manual called Competent Communication. And there's a step-by-step program which leads you through basic, like scaffolding. The first project is your ice-breaking speech. The first project is your icebreaker, which is the easiest speech. It's introducing yourself, and it's to get comfortable in front of the audience. And then organizing your speech. How do you organize the beginning, middle, and end? Getting to the point. How do you take your audience from here to here in a short period of time? We have projects for using your word choice, or using your body language, or using your vocal variety to get people interested in what you're talking about. And the last project in your Competent Communication Manual, speech number 10, is Inspire Your Audience, which is where you theoretically now have all of these skills, using body language, using your voice, organizing your speech, using visual aids like PowerPoints or drawings or diagrams, and you can give a speech that will inspire your audience to do something. And after you've completed those 10 speeches, you are now what we call a competent communicator. Congratulations. In Yonsei Toastmasters, currently in your membership, I believe you have 1 CC.
Yes.
And it's your president, Lu Yu. Lu Yu just completed his 10th speech. He is now what we call a competent communicator. Well, what does that mean? It means that in official documentation, he gets a little CC after his name. It's kind of like when you go to graduate school and you get your master's degree, and then afterwards you can say like MBA, or something like that.
Very master's degree too.
Exactly. And he's also getting a master's degree, so he's going to have a lot after his name. But what does that mean in the Toastmasters education program? It means he can move on to the next one, which is advanced communication manuals. So when you finish your CC, you get an email that says, congratulations, you can now choose 2 manuals. Now what's cool about the advanced communication manuals is these are more tailored to fit specific needs. There's ones for if you're going to be doing business presentations, called the professional speaker. There's ones that focus on talking about funny things and making your audience laugh, called humorously speaking. There's storytelling, speaking to inform, speeches by management. There's 15 different advanced manuals you can choose from.
Wow.
And each manual has 5 speech projects in it. And these range in time limits as well, from 2.5 minutes for a toast, an actual toast at a party, to 20 minutes, to 40 minutes, to an entire meeting of facilitation. So these are called the advanced manuals, and you can choose those as you advance in your Toastmasters journey. So after you get your CC, you choose your manuals, and then what? Well, you start working on becoming an ACB, an Advanced Communicator Bronze. And in order to obtain that, you have to have your CC, which you've done, the 10 speeches, and then you need to complete 2 of those manuals that we just saw, the advanced manuals. Any 2 of your choice. And then what? Now you're an ACB. You have the designation of ACB after your name. Congratulations. You are now a communicator. You've given 20 speeches in Toastmasters. Wow. Then what? Advanced Communicator Silver.
Wow.
We just keep moving on. And what that means is you've got your ACB, you've completed 2 more manuals. So now you're up to 30 speeches. 30 speeches in the Toastmasters organization. You also need to do 2 presentations from these series. I'm doing one right now about the Toastmasters Experience. There's ones for becoming a better speaker or making a better club. And you have to post 2 of those. And they're 10 to 15 minutes long. And this is about putting yourself in other situations as well. Because it's one thing to give a speech, but it's another thing to give an educational talk where you're informing your audience. And then what happens? You become an Advanced Communicator Silver. And then you move on to gold. So we've gone from your CC, which is your basic, to your bronze, to your silver, to your gold. Now, to be an Advanced Communicator Gold, again, you need to have the previous level. You need to be an ACS, which means, remember, 30 speeches, which means you've done 2 presentations. Now you also have to do 2 more manuals. Those of you who are good at math, 40 speeches. 40 speeches in Toastmasters that you've been evaluated on, that you've completed. That's a lot of speeches. Wow. You've spent a lot of time presenting. You also need to do a presentation from the Successful Leadership Series or the Communication Series, or host a workshop. And you need to coach a new member and their first 3 speech projects. And after you've done all that, you can submit your award form and be an ACG, which is Advanced Communicator Gold, which is the highest level in the speech program in and of itself. So remember, there's 2 tracks. There's the communication track, which is all the speeches, but there's also the leadership track, that competent leadership manual that you get, that most people ignore. But here's the secret. This manual is much easier to complete than the speech manual. The speech manual is 10 projects. Maybe you do 1 a month, maybe 2 a month if you have a lot of time. This one is so much easier. Why? Because it focuses on taking different roles in the meetings. Again, it's step by step. You start very basic and you work your way up with listening or critical thinking. And what kind of roles do you have to take? Well, some of you are doing them now. Timer. You take on the timer role. You get a check in your book. You take on grammarian. You get a check. Toastmaster. General evaluator. speech evaluator. These are all roles that you take on for leadership purposes. And you have to do, they say 10 different projects, but really it's probably closer to about 30, 25 or 30, because in each one you have to do maybe 3 different roles for listening, or 3 different roles for critical thinking. But if you take a role on every meeting, which is really easy to do at Yonsei, because you have fewer members and you have more roles available, you could get this in a very short period of time. So, after you get your CL, your competent leadership, you finish that book, then what happens? Again, you can work on your advanced leadership. So, again, we start with bronze. To be an advanced leader bronze, you have to have your CL, you have to be a competent communicator as well. In order to become an advanced leader bronze, you must complete both of the basic manuals, the CL and the CC. And you can do them at the same time. It's not like you have to choose, okay, right now I'm going to focus on my CC, and then I'm going to do my CL. You don't have to do that. Okay? So to be a bronze in ALB, you need to have your CC and your CL, and you need to serve as a club officer. Officer terms are 6 months, and there's 7 positions available in most clubs. President, who's not here, Vice President Education, Vice President Membership, Vice President PR, Public Relations, Secretary, Treasurer, and Sergeant of Arms. There's 7 different roles you can take on for a 6-month term, and that will help you get your ALB. You also need to go to training, a district-sponsored training, but the good news is, in Korea, we don't have a district, so you don't have to do that. Awesome. So ignore that. And you have to conduct 2 presentations. Again, kind of like the one we're doing now. And with these presentations that I said are 10 to 15 minutes long, don't worry. They give them to you. You can download them for free from the website, toastmasters.org. They're there. You don't even have to make the slides if you don't want to. I did. But you don't have to. They give you everything you need right there to download for free. So what happens after your ALB? Well, ALS, your Advanced Leadership Silver. And what does that mean? It means you're an ALB. It means you served as a district officer. Again, we don't have a district. Congratulations. I think in this case, though, it means you need to serve as an area officer. And we do have areas in Toastmasters in Korea. We have several different areas that are part of different divisions. I'm not sure how many areas yet, but Yonsei is part of Area 20, which is made up of 5 clubs. So in essence, you would be an officer serving 5 different clubs. And we can talk more about leadership later. And you also need to serve as a sponsor, or mentor, or coach for another club. Some of you know Perry Lamb. Perry comes to Yonsei meetings sometimes when he's in town. He's a member of Yoido. He's part of, I think, another Toastmasters club as well. But he comes... Thank you. Pacific Sunset, PSTM. But he comes to Yonsei, and he's working with the leadership in Yonsei to help them become a stronger club. So you need to serve as a mentor, and you need to complete 5 other projects called High Performance Leadership. Now, after you get your ALS, there's one other thing. Because we talked about this. We talked about going from competent communicator, advanced communicator, silver, gold, and competent leader, advanced leader, bronze, and advanced leader, silver. But there's one we didn't talk about, which is your distinguished Toastmaster. How do you become a distinguished Toastmaster? Well, sorry, wrong way. In order to become a distinguished Toastmaster, you need to be an ACG, Advanced Communicator Gold, which means the 40 speeches, and you need to be an ALS, an Advanced Leader Silver. And once you've reached that, you are now considered a distinguished Toastmaster. It's the highest you can go in the Toastmasters organization. Wow. And in Korea, we currently have 9, I believe. Oh. So, now how long does this take you? Well, usually maybe a couple of years, but it's really not that hard to do. If you focus on completing your projects, your speech projects, and your CL projects, your leadership projects, it's really not that difficult. And why is it important? Because it's what we're here to do, to become better speakers and to become better leaders. Any questions?